everybody, it's Tox from critshappen.com. Thanks for watching and welcome back. We're here with another episode of Critical Kicks, where we take a look at games either delivered to us on Kickstarter or maybe some things that are already on Kickstarter. In fact, today is going to be a very different format from what our first format was. We'll see how this goes, and of course, we'd love to hear your opinions on it at the end and in the bottom on the YouTube channel. So the first episode of Critical Kicks I did was kind of a catch-up mode. It had been a while and I wanted to put a lot of games together that we had received on Kickstarter and talk about them, talk about what I liked about the games, and talk a lot about what I liked about the projects and the people behind them. Today we're going to look at 3 games. One that I got, one that I've backed, and one that's about to be backed or about to be on Kickstarter. So let's talk first about the game that I got. The game that I got is Pixel Glory. Now this is from Zafty Games. Many of you may know Frank Alberts. Frank used to work for Game Salute and ventured off on his own. Did a couple of Kickstarters that were successful, Pixel Glory being one of them. And this was a game that, let me back up a little bit. So Pixel Glory I actually did a critical preview for last year before it was on Kickstarter. And it is a very, very fun game. It's a very unique game. I really like what it does because it takes a lot of different mechanics and pulls them together into a very small game, as you can see, and makes it very fun. It's quick. It's like I think maybe takes us 20 minutes to play. I think the box says, well, the box says 30 minutes, so it takes us about 20 minutes to play, but it's a very, very fun game. The concept is you're trying to go after this guy, the Dungeon Lord. He is a bad, nasty guy, and you're trying to defeat him. You do that by going into the dungeon and using spells. However, in order to get your spells, you've got to draft them, and it's got a really interesting mechanic between you drafting a spell. So for example, this one is a water spell, and it tells me that when I draft it, I have to take 3 of the actual water basic attacks. So what happens is, while I get this in my deck, so to speak, to go in and attack in the dungeon, I also get 3 of these, which may be good, but also may slow me down in getting the cards I actually want. So it's a tricky kind of balancing act of what spell do I want to take that's going to help me, but what spell do I want to take that's going to streamline my deck. The other thing that's really cool is it uses a kind of a reverse auctioning mechanic where you bid, you get to see the cards that come out, and then you bid on who is going to get the shot at those cards first. And there's a lot of interesting mini game inside of that where you're trying to play against the other players of, I know what cards you have left to bid with, I know what cards I have left to bid with, and who and when is going to play what, and it's really, really fun. The other thing that I really like is, if you go back and look at our original video for Pixel Glory, the cards that were the elements were really, really simple, and these are really, really much better. The design of them is all that 8/16-bit pixel look from the retro days, but they really, really separated these and made them look different. One of my original concerns about the game was around the colorblind players and about people that saw the same images and not differentiated stuff. They did a really, really good job with this. And overall, I really, really like Pixel Glory. It's a game that is very quick and easy to learn. It's a game that is not necessarily a gateway card game, although I could see people using it for that. But it's more for people who want something different on a deck builder and still have some competitiveness involved. I've really, really enjoyed it. So if I can recommend anything, check them out. You can get it, I believe, through distribution now. If not, I'm pretty sure Zafty has it on their website. But they also have an expansion, which is on Kickstarter right now, which is Pets, which is really cool looking. And in a very, very neat way, Frank and Zafty have done this thing where you can pay what you want, kind of a pay what you want Kickstarter. They give you a recommendation, but if you want to pay $5, pay $5. If you want to pay $25, pay $25. I think that's really cool. Michael Mendez had some success with that with Tasty Minstrel Games, and I think that Frank is going to see some success with that with this one as well. So again, that is Pixel Glory. So let's talk about one that is currently on Kickstarter right now. Let me pull it up here so I don't say anything wrong or screw anything up. So Ben Haskett has a game called See, I can't even talk already. It's called Project Dreamscape, a dream chaining card game. Now I'm going to pull some of the images off their site and show it to you on here as we talk about it. This game looks really cool. This game looks like, again, a very small game to take around. It's like 52 total cards. It is a little bit of a deck building game, a little bit of a resource management game, and a little bit of a set collection game. And I really like all those things, so that's really, really cool. Ironically, and I might get yelled at for this, so don't yell at me, but it's just my opinion. I'm not a fan of the artwork in the game. It looks a little amateurish, but I understand the style and what they're going for with it. That said, though, you guys know from watching me before that artwork is something that I tend to kind of put to the side, and I look more at the game itself. I really think from everything I've read about this game, it looks solid, just solid. Mechanics look cool, the size of the game looks cool, the capabilities and the combinations inside of the game look really cool. I watched Rahdo's run through of it, looked very good as well. Ben, I don't know personally, so I can't really like vouch for him like I could vouch for some of the other people that I know personally, but I can tell you that it's done very well. I mean, I'm sitting here right now and it has 355 backers. It's already successful. It had a $6,000 goal and they've got 10,435. It's for ages 10 and up, 30 minutes, and it looks like it's 2 to 6 players, I think is what it says. So it's interesting. The artwork is good. Don't let me get you wrong. The artwork is good. It's just not my style. But I can put that aside, and if a game goes really well, then that's really what matters. And the idea of the concept of the game is that we're all in a dream together, and we're trying to like draft these specific things that will let us do stuff in the dream, and then chain together sets of those dreams, moments, kind of to get points. So while some of you children from the 80s may hear Dreamscape and think something totally different, it's not it. So definitely check it out. I would highly recommend checking it out. So we'll put a link in the video here and a link in the description. Project Dreamscape, a dream chaining card game. That's just a great title to say. All right, so let's talk about one that is going to be on Kickstarter. And I might get a little flack for this, and I'm sorry, but this is the way it is. I said I wasn't going to do critical previews, but I want to talk about this one because I know this is a game that I'm going to back on day one. So from time to time, we may do that. This one is a game called Trainmaker, and as you can see, it's actually called Trainmaker, the Advanced Prototype. This is actually an advanced copy that they're giving to some people to check out before it hits Kickstarter. Now, I want to say this is a Game Crafter version, I'm not sure. But the concept of Trainmaker is really kind of simple when you lay it down. And I just drop everything as I do it. You have 7 dice, and these 7 dice have everything from train engines to train cabooses and everything in between. The concept is really simple. I'm going to roll my dice, and I'm going to try and make a train that has at least, for example with this car, a flatbed car and a passenger car. If I can do that, I can take the card. However, to complete a train, I have to have both an engine and the train parts and the caboose. And the caboose is very hard to roll. It sounds easy, it's not. And then there's a press your luck element in that if you roll 2 engines on your first turn, you could potentially take a second turn and maybe even a third turn and capture more cards. It's not a press your luck element in the sense of if you capture a card and move on, you're going to lose the cards you captured. So that's kind of a relief. But then what happens is you have different types of stations that you can get. You can win the game by either getting 1 of each of the 6 different stations, or by completing a contract card. So for example, this card right here says if I had 3 passengers or 3 cattle, I could complete that. Now this is secret and other players don't know that, so nobody knows really what you're going after. And then in addition to that, the card stations that you get, they represent different stations around the world or around the US, you can turn them in and use them as abilities too. So if I'm going after 3 cattle cards, and I have a card that lets me re-roll something, but I don't necessarily need that to win the game, I could ditch that to re-roll cards. So there's going to be a lot of different abilities that you're going to be using through the game as well. The thing that I really like about Trainmakers, first it's fast. It's super fast. So you can play a 2-player game in like 10 minutes, which is really cool. The second thing is it offers you some really unique decisions. You have to really decide, do I want to diversify and try and get 1 of each of these stations, or do I go after my contract card? And if I go after either of those strategies, there's only so many cards that are out in front of me that I can go after. What happens if I get 4 of the 6 and the last 2 don't ever come up? There's a lot of interesting decisions you're going to have to use, and that's where you may have to use some of your abilities and your cards to kind of push your strategy forward. It's designed by Chris Leader, who most people know. He's a good friend of mine personally. He is a great guy. He is the designer for Roll For It. He's designer for City of Gears, which is an upcoming game from my other company with Arcane Wonders. And just an overall great guy. But this is going to be Grey Gnome Games. Grey Gnome Games is going to be bringing it out. I want to say March 10th. I might be wrong on that, but I want to say March 10th is when it's going to hit Kickstarter. And Grey Gnome Games is really fun. They have a lot of other games. They're a smaller publisher, but Jason does a really good job. I like Four Tribes was a game of theirs that I played that I really enjoyed. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can do with this one. It's a small press your luck dice game, but I think it'll be pretty fun. So that is Critical Kicks. So check out Pixel Glory, which is available now and has an expansion on Kickstarter. Project Dreamscape, a dream chaining card game, which is on Kickstarter right now. And get ready for Trainmaker, which is about to be on Kickstarter in March from Grey Gnome Games. Let us know what you think about these and other projects. Do you have a project that is very interesting that you want us to take a look at? Leave a comment below and we'll check it out when we can. We can't guarantee it'll make it into a copy of Critical Kicks here, but we'll see what we can do. In the meantime, keep kicking, keep crowdfunding, have fun with it. There's a lot of really good stuff that is out there. There's a lot of really good creative things that are out there as well. Let us know what you think. Leave a comment below on the YouTube channel. Of course, you can always chime in on Facebook and Twitter or at our homepage at critshappen.com. But until we see you next time, keep kicking it, keep rolling those dice, and we hope they're all crits.